like on Facebook.
All right, so I see little dots. Yeah.
There we go.
Turn that shit off. So I hope I will update this on the Facebook page really quick so everyone can see it. And as of now, so I need to remember, guys, I keep doing this. I have to reselect the microphone every time, and that's what's going on.
Can you edit your last post?
Yeah, I can edit it.
Just do that.
So just bear with me for just a second, and we'll get into the discussion. So I apologize for this. There we go. We are updated on the Facebook page, and we are live here. Okay, so what happens is every time I go into the settings, it defaults to go through the webcam's microphone rather than this microphone. That microphone I have turned off because I want to use this one. And this time I forgot to reselect it. So that's what happened. That's what's happened the last couple times when this has happened. But we're back now. We're live. So welcome to our weekly live discussion. We talked about our EVPs last week. Yeah. So we'll touch base a little more on like
we did disembodied voices and sounds too.
How we go about an EVP session. And again, if you guys, we're always looking for input. If you guys have anything that you want us to talk about, that's kind of what this is all about. Otherwise, we just do it pre-recorded. But since it's live, we can talk to you about anything. But as for EVP work, it's probably about the most strenuous. It's probably about the most strenuous and tedious work on the entire. A lot of background noise, but it's probably the most strenuous and tedious work that we do, but it's the most rewarding and it gets the most results. So usually we roll with about 4 to 6 recorders at any given point during an investigation, and all those have to be reviewed. Even the recorders that we have that we can listen to at live time, we've still caught stuff after the fact that we couldn't hear at the time. So all of it needs to be reviewed regardless. So that's listening to it for hours on end afterwards. Usually the biggest thing with reviewing any sort of evidence, especially like the visual, only the statics, but even EVPs, the biggest thing with that is to give yourself breaks, because you start to just zone out after a while. But anyway, so EVP sessions, there's a couple different ways you can do it. The number one way that everyone wants to see, and that you'll see on most of our footage, is you're asking questions, just like easy questions, like generalized questions. And you're kind of trying to gather information while you're asking the questions, like what year it is, who's the president. And then you can... The date, although that's a little too specific sometimes. You kind of want to warm up. You want to start by asking, like, what's your name? How old are you? Are you a boy or girl? What's the... There's all sorts of questions like that. But the number one thing when we bring new investigators on, especially, that we run into is they want to bombard them with questions. And sometimes it takes them a while to respond. Sometimes it's not instant. And if you bombard them with questions, you kind of ruin the EVP if you end up catching one. So what we always tell our investigators is count to a minute. Count for a minute in your head after asking the question. You got to give it about 1 minute in between each questions. That's the general rule. What?
Oh, I love when we're training new investigators and their minute goes by incredibly fast.
A minute's a very long time. A minute does not seem like a very long time until you're sitting there in silence and it starts to feel awkward and you're like, it's time to ask another question.
I love doing that because when I'm doing training sessions with them, I'll tell them after they finish their question to start counting. And I'll count 2 to pace them.
Yep.
And I make sure it's actually like a pretty true to an actual second count.
Mm-hmm.
Usually around 30 to 45 seconds is when they'll send the trigger.
Which 45 seconds, like, that's okay. But, like, ideally...
Under 30 is when I tell them
then you slow it down. Yep. And we had a question. Have we ever encountered the spirit of an animal? Not that I can remember. We had a couple claims of one, but...
Yeah, we've had a couple of cases that claim of animal spirits. But that's sort of a gray area, really.
Yeah, it is a really gray area.
Paranormal phenomenon, animal spirits are pretty incredibly rare if you believe the evidence. But I think there's been like animal-like apparitions caught.
Yeah, there have been, not by us.
I mean, if it is animal, it's probably residual, for sure.
Exactly. Yep.
Because animals are very habitual, and habits create patterns, and those patterns create residual energies. So someone who likes to stomp up the stairs could create a residual energy imprint just by doing that every day for 30 years.
Right.
Especially if it's very emotional. Because emotions can really embed imprints.
So but yeah, I don't think that I know of, caught any animal spirits.
Caught plenty of bats on footage.
We have caught a
those are live.
lot of bats, but they were not dead.
They were very much alive.
They were very alive.
And that one mouse that scared Mason.
They were very close to my head. And I actually had a bat hit me right in the chest this past fall. It wasn't on an investigation. It was just, we were walking down the street on Mackinac Island. We were given a haunted tour. And a bat flew out from the side of a building, flew right at me, smoked me right in the chest. And I was like, well, hello. But yes, so not that I know of for animal spirits. Good question. But as for EVPs, so that's the number one way. You want to start off with questions, and as you get responses, if you can hear your responses at any point, and that goes with anything, like even using the K2 meter for yes and no. We've done that before. Same story. If you get your responses, that's when you develop more specific questions. You kind of try and dig deeper, figure out what exactly is going on. The other way, and this is what we do a lot of times as well, you just leave the recorder and have it completely quiet. And that's a good way to pick up on residual sounds. That's a good way to pick up on entities that are like trying to not communicate with us specifically.
A good time to do it is when you take your 2 a.m. pizza break.
Yep, 2 a.m. pizza break. You just leave your equipment running. We do that a lot. We do no-man investigations is what we call them, where we're not in the location. We have our equipment going.
We've got a lot from those types of phenomena. Apparitions, especially when no one's around. That's I can't think of a time when someone's been in frame and we see an apparition.
And when we catch one, it's usually thrown out because of cross-contamination.
Yeah, I think we only have 3 genuine.
3 or 4. We have 2 so far for the series, so
nice.
Hope you guys are prepared for that, and hopefully we are ready to rock and roll. We can get a better DVR system eventually if this can get going.
Have we had a discussion since our team meeting?
Yeah, we talked the next day, but I mean, we didn't really talk about it.
We can talk about some of the upcoming things.
Yeah, I mean, we have a case.
Yeah.
I won't say exactly where yet. I think I have said in the past where, but I won't say. If you heard it, you know. If not, too bad.
We're official. We have a binder.
But it is, we're official. But it is a interesting case, and it is also a case that was affected by the Midland, the county floods, pretty horribly. So what we did was we pledged a specific donation that's to it to help restore it and the affected area. And along with that donation, we are saying we started at 37 subscribers. If I can get to 50, at least 50 subscriber, every team member on that case, on top of the donation we're already giving them, we'll give an extra $1 per subscriber. So if you don't like us, at the very least, help out the community and get us some subscribers.
I like to think the people who watch our videos like us.
I hope so. Even when I have camera malfunctions.
Beyond April, some vague.
News. We're thinking of going out of state a couple times.
And in state.
And in state at a historic mansion that's a bed and breakfast. And
possibly a return case in the summer.
Yep.
We'll just sprinkle that excitement there.
The only case that I was not on.
So they can watch the past videos and find out where it is.
Yes, if you go on our Facebook page. They weren't on YouTube.
Yeah.
But if you go on Michigan Bay Paranormal Team's Facebook page, now I'm covering the on scenes. But if you go on there, there's videos from this location.
And we have something planned for October.
We do. It's in the early stages, but you guys are going to like it, and you guys might be able to be a part of it.
Won't that be fun?
Is there any questions about anything we're talking about, or do you guys want us to talk about something else? Our team is getting gear, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and we might extend that to the community as well. So it's in the early stages as well, but if we can get enough, and if anyone's interested, we might be able to get you some shirts, some sweatshirts, and everything like that. So hats.
We should get socks.
We're not getting socks. But yeah, any questions at all about what we're doing or what our future holds? Because we do have cases coming up for the first time in a very long time, which is really cool. But it will shift our focus a little bit from these live streams and everything, which we'll still do the live streams, don't worry. But it'll shift our focus a little bit to actually making episodes and actually getting you guys genuine content. So that should be that would be nice to actually have real content to give you guys again, rather than showing you some of the stuff we've done in the past, which is cool because we've caught a lot of good stuff in the past, but we're
looking towards the future.
Yeah, looking towards the future. We're gonna have a couple videos coming out here, probably after the April investigation. We should have
some additional content dropping.
Some additional content about how we investigate and our equipment breakdowns. I know we did a little bit of that on a live stream, but
maybe some short bios of the teams.
Yeah.
And some other fun videos. We'll leave that as a mystery.
Mm-hmm. And then hopefully, I'm hoping by like June, you guys will be able to see a trailer of what we're going to have for you.
Nice.
But we'll hang out on here and pretend to talk about something useful for the next couple minutes. If anyone wants to
talk about something
if anyone wants to chime in and with any questions, by all means.
Spread the word that Bryce wants more investigators.
Remains to be seen. But
you don't want them to try to plug that for you?
I want more investigations first.
Spread the word. Maybe we should get business cards.
We have business cards.
New business cards.
New business cards. Because our business cards have a website on there that doesn't exist anymore.
Facebook now.
Facebook. For now.
That's how Squarespace is a good spot for website building.
Have you ever been terrified during an investigation? No. No. Not even maybe a little nervous,
Mm.
but not because of entities.
I was about to say, I can think of
'Cause of
one case we did
Location hazards.
with that guy who tried to push his way into our investigation because it was raining outside,
Oh yeah,
and that was really sketchy.
yeah. That was a story. There was a homeless guy trying to push his way into the location outside. Because we took a break and I went out and looked at the storm, and he was standing under the awning, tried to push his way into the investigation site. And, I can't invite anyone in. It's not my location. So I told him to get lost, and he tried to push his way in and tried to fight with me. And
It escalated.
let's just say it didn't go well for him. But
it's always the living that are more scary than.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I always wondered if I would get scared doing this sort of thing, but every time I've had any sort of interaction or experience,
It's more exciting than scary.
I'm left there just kind of, I don't know, I just sort of look dumbfounded. Like I don't know what to do.
Right.
Like when we saw that chair move at Bobby Mackey's, and I would always wonder, like, what am I going to do when I see furniture, like, aggressively move or thrown or something? And the answer is just stare at it blankly and just accept the fact that it moved on its own. That's about it. And also watch Jared whip around faster than I've ever seen him move and ask if the chair just pulled itself out.
It sure did, Jared. It sure did.
And I just walked outside. I'm like, the chair moved. But
I was like, get cameras rolling. No, get them going.
But I've had my hair pulled too, and all I did was go, Bryce, they're pulling my hair. And then you scold them for pulling hair. Because that's mean.
That's mean.
But
most of the time.
Or when you get scratch marks, we don't act like certain other shows where they're like, oh, scratches. Instead, you're like, well, that was awfully rude.
Psychic scratches are nothing to be afraid of. Just so you guys know.
Doesn't even hurt. They just show up on your arm.
Feels like a static shock.
I didn't even feel the last time I got those marks at an undisclosed campground.
Still undisclosed.
You were the one who noticed them on my shoulder. But that was a wild experience we can talk about. That possible figure.
Yeah, we saw a figure walking through the woods of what looked like an Amish guy, and I ran up over the hill. Nothing. There was nothing there.
We saw the same thing, and we cross-verified without contaminating.
Yep. But yeah, so a lot of exciting stuff coming in the future. Just bear with us for a little bit and get us subscribers so we can help them out and help this channel out so we can get more content to you. But until next time, I think we're going to get off here and call it a night. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.